Hey, hey, you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, Gosh, it's Thursday. Thursday. Hey, so I've had a lot of chat this week about shame and suicide, and so we're going to talk a little bit more about shame, actually. And I don't know; it's probably not that popular a subject because we. Uh, if we didn't have shame, I mean, shame says we don't want to look at things. We don't want to look at areas of our life where we feel shame, and we're like, ooh, don't want to look at that. And I get that. It's the same for all of us, and sometimes it's quite hidden and not even consciously. It's not like we've hidden it consciously. Sometimes it's just quite hidden. It's like, oh, Jesus, you know. And this came up because a friend of mine, took his life last weekend, and and the question was, why didn't he reach out? Why didn't he reach out? So many people around him who loved him, and why didn't he reach out? That was the question. And for everybody, how could that have happened to him? And and what came up for me is that there was a ton of shame around suicide. There's so much shame that people don't even want to talk about it. When it happens in your family, often we don't discuss it. It's like, oh, what happened to him. We just call it mental illness, or but we don't really look at it. We don't say, well, why didn't he reach out? Why? Well, he got so deep in there he couldn't get out, and those kind of things come up. But the walls of that prison, I think, are walls of shame, and how do we bust those down? And that's the conversation is breaking down shame around a lot of things. Um, there's shame often around our sexuality, and so we keep secrets. You know, um, often people who say are contemplating suicide think about it for a long, long time. It's not like it just came up. It's not like, oh, Saturday afternoon. I think, we think about it at 2 o'clock and we're gone at 4. No, we carry it along around for a long time. I know people. I've talked to people. I'm kind of in that world, and where people are toying with the idea, but they don't talk. They don't call somebody up and say, "Hey, I've been thinking a lot about suicide." No, they don't. And the same thing with the secrets they have around lots of things, sexuality, um, finances. With shame around finances, people are going broke, and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want anybody to know that things aren't good for us financially, and so we hide it. And secrets, separate us. Secrets, are often our fear of judgment, and our fear of judgment. And so, become aware. Self knowledge is good in some areas. And, it's helpful to become self aware of our own judgments, and around all of those things. I'm part of a men's group, and and such honesty we have around our fire. We meet once a week, and such honesty around the fire. Around we talk about everything, and you know, and I suspect that sometimes judgment comes up. Especially when we have as a high value, say, finances. Success financially, and I remember when I was going, my business was failing a few years ago, and I was in a tough spot, and I was trying to make it work, and really, really focused on doing whatever I could to pull it out of the hole, and it was not doable. And I had shame. I did. I was like, oh. I felt like a failure and all of those things. And so I experienced it and I didn't want to talk about it and I was in denial. And so just the subject, Brené Brown. Brené Brown is a researcher and an author and a storyteller. And I recommend Brené Brown. She's done some great work in this area. So if you're interested in learning more, you know, I'm certainly not the expert. I have some expertise because mostly of personal experience around shame. But Brené Brown, boom, boom, she really is the expert. So I recommend her. Read some of this, and let's break down the walls of shame. Let's talk about it. Be courageous to talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of my chat for today, and just watch you know where that comes up in our lives, and where we shame others, for who they are or what they do, and or yeah, just um, if we want to create a safe environment for people to share, um, then we need to be aware of when we have judgment, and yeah, that's the deal. We want to create a safe environment, and so that's my hope is to be that for lots of people. A safe environment to talk where without judgment. Now, my course of action, though, is I'm not a therapist, and don't believe I do therapy. I think that what I'd help people to find is that inner peace, and a lot of what blocks us off from. I consider the inner peace to actually be our natural state. Unconditional love, inner peace, joy is our natural state. It isn't something we have to attain. It is who we are. And things like fear, guilt, shame block us off from that. So when we surrender those things, when we let go of those things, when we become aware of and let go of those things, we move into our natural state. We naturally, like a cork, move up. We don't move down. We're pulled down by guilt, shame, fear, anger, desire. We're pulled down by those things. So one of the ways also to move into that natural state is through service, through helping others. So the more we're sharing, this, so a lot of this whole thing around our natural state has been kind of held in under lock and key by religion, and with lots of dogma on what this thing is, this thing that can't be described, that we all have not only access to, that we all are. And so my experience, not a belief, my experience is that we are that. We are that joy. We are that peace. We are that love, and that the work that we do, kind of mucking around in the lower realms of fear, guilt, shame, anger, desire, um, you know, apathy, um, are, is to just release them, to see how we're in judgment and complaint, and release it, let it go. And as we let it go, we are lifted up. That's into our natural state. We become that. We are that, but we become aware that we are that. And without understanding, though, without being able to kind of describe it or talk about it, because it isn't in the intellect, it's beyond the intellect. So the eye, David Hawkins said, cannot see the eye. And you know, so that's it. But we've all experienced it to a certain degree. We all feel it. The peace that passeth all understanding is is there for us. And yeah, That's my my message for the day. Awakening, baby, awakening. So we're going to read today. It's the 21st day, really, of the 21st year, of the 21st century. Wow, the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century. 21, 21, 21. Beautiful. Isn't that? Get that? Is that fun? That means absolutely nothing. It might, but to me, it doesn't mean anything. I saw it this morning on Facebook. Um, the 21st day of January. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this book I read from daily is, it's a 24-hour day book, and the 24-hour day book is, was written really, 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 really early in the life of Alcoholics Anonymous, and many people have gotten solace. Is that the word? They've found um, beautiful awarenesses in this book. The man who wrote this, whose name escapes me, let me see if I can find his name. And he wrote this in I think I have it opened here. Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, the man who wrote that in the day was, in the early days of the 12-step world, there weren't that many women. It seemed alcoholism and addiction seemed to be very male orientated, and now when we go to the 12-step world, there's a lot, of women coming in young too, and sobering up young. It's beautiful, but it was a different world, in the 40s, 30s, and the 40s. It was a different world. Okay, the 21st day of the 21st year, the 21st century. To grasp, it says, the 12-step program, we have to think things out. We have to think things out. Paul, that's St. Paul, said, they are transformed by the renewing of their minds. They are transformed by the renewing of their minds. We have to learn to think straight. We have to change from alcoholic thinking to sober thinking. We must build up a new way of looking at things. Before we came into the 12-step world into AA, we wanted an artificial life of excitement and everything that goes with drinking and partying and messing around. That kind of life looked normal to us then. But as we look back now, that life looks the exact opposite of normal. In fact, it looks most abnormal. We must re-educate. It's true. We must re-educate our minds. So it's part of it. The awakening comes, but it comes with new awarenesses. I spent an hour on the phone with a fellow yesterday, and who was really, really, really upset because he's reasonably newly sober, and he's having trouble financially, and work isn't coming his way, but he's forgotten that what happens in the 12-step world is that we have a new employer. We actually are living a spiritually based life, and so we see God or the universal intelligence as our employer. We turn over our life, our will, and our lives to the care of that power. But for many of us, we throw in the towel, and then we rip it back and say, "Hey, I want it my way," and then we get upset because it's not coming our way. So we have to kind of humble ourselves and say, oh, I guess my way doesn't work. My thinking didn't work. And that's what he's saying here, because our thinking didn't work. Meditation today. I will take the most crowded day without fear. I believe that God is with me and controlling all. I will let confidence be the motif running through all the crowded day. I will let confidence be the motif running through all the crowded day. I will not get worried because I know that God is my helper. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Underneath are the everlasting arms. I will rest in them, even though the day be full of things crowding in upon me. Beautiful. Um, it's almost like poetry. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be calm and let nothing upset me. I pray that I may not let material things control me and choke out spiritual things. Be in the world and not of it. Ta-da. Beautiful, eh? And it's funny if you're here listening, if you come back and you listen to these things on a regular basis, and if you want to, you can go to YouTube. I have, I've been doing this reading since the 1st of May, and so I think some of them might be have been inspirational for some. So if you go back and go to YouTube and look, there's lots there to look at if you'd like to, and hopefully we're cracking the shell. We're helping folks to break out of the prison of their mind. So we're going to meditate for a few minutes, and if you'd like to join, well, I'd like you to join. And so I'm just going to sit for a few minutes. And my whole idea about meditation, again, it's not. I don't follow any particular religion. I don't have a religious belief in a way, although I don't think my beliefs or my experience is contrary to any particular religion either. I just think that meditation is one of the ways for us to awaken, to come to the moment. And awakening is in the moment. There is nothing else. This is it. Everything else is an illusion. It's a what if. And even in looking in the past, we can't really see the past. We only see our perception of the past. And often we're caught up. We can be angry with, oh, how could they have said that? We don't actually know what was going on. We don't know anything. So we can just let go of the past. Just let it go. And in meditation, we practice that. We practice letting go in this moment. And so join me if you like. We're just going to sit. And it becomes a beautiful practice. It really does. If you do this on a regular basis, it doesn't have to be, you have to sit for 2 hours or go do a 10-day Vipassana, This is not necessary, Start right here. And you will fall in love with this time, with this meditation, with this process. Because here is the experience really of unconditional love, of joy, of peace, as we move into the moment. So use our breath to bring ourselves into this second, into this timeless, really. We call it the moment, but it's timeless. We call it this second, but it's timeless. It's now. There is no time in this instant. We're going to leave everything behind. Everything. Just let it all go. So no thoughts of yesterday, no thoughts of tomorrow, no focus on our health, whether it be in our judgment, good or bad. We don't know anything. No focus on relationships, no focus on finances. Just let it all go. Just for a few minutes. Just for now. Drop into this space. Nothing coming. No next. Just now. Not to get anything. Not to be anything. If thoughts come up, just let them go. Just let them go. Don't give them any energy. Okay. Just come back when you're ready. Thank you. You can do this anytime, anywhere. You can just pull over in the car, sit on the side of the road, in the parking lot, anywhere. Just drop in. Let everything go. It's beautiful. Thanks so much. I have an interview today. I have 2 interviews today. I'd love you to join me later. I'm going to interview Cody. Go to YouTube and listen to the interviews. They're really great. They're just people sharing their lives, their experience, what's been like through COVID, and what they're working on, what's next. Some really, really beautiful people. So, yeah, go to YouTube and have a look at some of those. Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.